Well, good afternoon, YTPC. This is Dave. Video number 2 for the day, coming to you from the paddock here in Southern Maryland. I've switched to my Missouri Meerschaum with my Forever stem. If you watched the last vid, I was talking about this one and how I just didn't like this plastic bit. And so I went ahead and ordered them. I got them. I told you it's so these are Forever stems by a company called Vermont Freehand. I got 4 more kind of like this one, different colors, but this style, this length, this style of color, but all different colors. So both cherries and both, I think, hickories are going to get replaced with the Forever stem. So I told you I would keep you up to date when I found out, give you the actual names of those. They're about $20 for the stem, but they're pretty high quality. I really do like this one. So guys, obviously I'm smoking the Missouri Meerschaum, and I went back to my half and half because a couple of people said, hey, try half and half in a corn cob, you might get a better experience. And I gotta say I am. So I'm using Smarty Bob's gravity method to load this pipe, but the half and half in a corn cob, lightly packed. I'm actually enjoying this today. Thank you, Greg. If you're not in the mood for a serious video, go away. This is the serious version of the video. I didn't want to junk up the other one. The other one was kind of fun. This one is not. The title of this is You Are Being Watched. So when you guys forwarded me an email about Ohio going back to using online facial recognition, maybe that's why some of you non-presenters are going to stay on that side of the fence, because you don't want facial recognition used on your YouTube videos. So that is the genesis of why we're doing a second video today. Guys, I do not like the content of this video. I don't like the story behind it. I don't like where the world is going with this concept, but that doesn't matter. My opinion on the world does not matter. And frankly, neither does yours. I'm worried that maybe either you're sticking your head in the sand or you're being naive. Maybe you're being intentionally naive. Or maybe you're just simply not aware of where the world has come on the subject of video surveillance, the use of artificial intelligence, the use of artificial intelligence to keep an eye on you. Guys, I lived this world, all right? I lived on the other side of this subject for decades. Some of the smartest people on the planet work for my company in the world of video surveillance. We solved the Boston Marathon bomber case using video surveillance and facial recognition. If you're using facial recognition and the concern of being monitored by Big Brother as a reason to not make videos, I think you're being silly. If you want to make videos and that's the only thing really keeping you from it, go ahead. It doesn't matter. So I want to talk to you about how you're being monitored, because you're being monitored. You're being watched. They probably aren't doing anything with the data, but your imagery is being stored and saved. They will probably only become used if you do something to warrant them coming after you. And 99% of us aren't and won't. And there's frankly nothing you can do to prevent the maintenance of a database with all your stuff in it. In today's world, you simply can't exist in the modern society without being monitored pretty much every step along the way. I'll give you a slightly funny example. My son, a few years ago, said, well, I like to use Snapchat. And I said, why do you like to use Snapchat? He said, because your posts get deleted. Nobody can see them after 30 seconds or a minute or whatever it is. I've never even been on Snapchat. I said, Sean, that's a joke. We can pull up anything you've posted on Snapchat from the beginning of your account. He said, Dad, you're silly. You're an idiot. You're old. You don't understand how it works. It gets deleted. I'm like, no, it doesn't. So I actually had one of my guys go in and pull up my son's entire Snapchat history and send it to him. It was one of my few victories with my son, by the way. If you use a smartphone of any kind at this point, you're on the grid. If you take photos or videos with your phone or your iPad, it's in the database. If you use iCloud, Google Drive, OneDrive, that's all in the database. If you use an iPad, a computer, a laptop, that can all be monitored at any time. If you watch TV on a smart TV, you can be monitored at any time. Some of you are going to try and tell me, well, I turned my phone off. No, you don't. You think you turn your phone off, and it does go into a different state. But I'm telling you, when you have your iPhone turned off, or I just use iPhone because that's what I happen to use, your iPhone's always on. Your smartphone, is always on. It can always be accessed. Where it goes can be tracked whether you have it turned off or not. The microphone can be turned on remotely whether you have it turned off or not. The camera can be turned on without you knowing it, whether it's turned on or off. It doesn't matter. If you walk out into a public street, public square, you're most likely on what is being called a traffic cam. It's not a traffic cam. It's used for traffic, but it's used for people surveillance. One of the most successful cities for personnel surveillance in the world when I retired in 2019 was London. I think the project is complete. You cannot stand on a street corner in London, anywhere in the city of London, and not be on camera. That was their intent 5 years ago, and they were pretty close when I got out of the business. I believe it's fully completed at this time. So many cities were jealous of that, and most major cities have started a similar campaign. You will not be able to stand on a street corner in the top 100 cities or 500 cities in the United States without being on camera. One of the things my company did for years for the intelligence community of the United States was create approved product lists, APLs. And things could not be purchased, particularly by the FBI, unless they had been individually proved down to the model level by our team. A lot of companies don't run that kind of analysis, and so they hang these big TVs in their conference room and their boardrooms. People hang them. I did it. I hang it in my individual office. Those smart TVs have cameras and microphones in them. They can be turned on remotely without the person knowing it. And we can record board meetings, individual meetings, sight and sound if we want, without the person knowing. Done it. Your TV sitting in your living room, your rec room, your man cave, or whatever, can do the same thing. I'm not saying they are, because you're pretty boring, right? I mean, why would anybody want to even record me? It's crazy, right? But it can be done, and it can be done at any time. Just about every store today has surveillance cameras. They can be turned on and recorded remotely at any time. I think pretty much every airport that's FAA approved has full monitoring now, video-wise. You can't go anywhere in an FAA-run airport that you're not on camera. You guys have heard of IoT, the Internet of Things, which means these things have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth in them. I frankly don't know why you need a toaster or toaster oven or air fryer or stove or refrigerator or freezer connected to the internet, but the fact is it's getting harder and harder to buy a model of any of those devices that don't bring that capability into your house. But if it's in your house and it's plugged in, we can turn it on. So I don't care if you enable it. I don't care if you use it. That's not my point. The point is, if you buy an Internet of Things enabled appliance and you bring it in your house and plug it in and start using it, we have the ability to turn on all the things that we want to use, cameras and mics usually, to catch you, pick you up, listen to you, record you, monitor you, watch you. If you'll notice, most things you can't take the battery out of anymore, right? That used to work. Like 5, 6, 8 years ago, you could take the battery out of a phone, and the phone was pretty much dead once the capacitors had run down. But that's not true anymore. They're making it so you can't take the battery out. Not really sure where I'm going with this, as usual, except to let you know that you're being watched. Wherever you go, whatever you do, at your job, at your commute, walking down the street, going in the store, traveling, train stations, bus stations, airports, it just doesn't matter. Every time you get on your phone or you have your phone with you, on or off, it just doesn't matter. You're being monitored. To what end? Probably none. And I don't think you can change your life to the point where you can participate in modern society and not be a victim of this. I don't know of any way for you to go around it. I know lots of people who've tried. Now, there are some people who can claim that you can jailbreak your phone and download their operating system, and I haven't done any of that. Maybe that's true, but that's 0.1% or 0.01% of people in the world. You know, most likely, if you're watching this video, you're not one of them. You know, we don't know how to jailbreak a phone, burn it to the ground, and rebuild it with a secure operating system. I don't. I wouldn't even attempt to do that in my world. I just live knowing that what I'm putting out in the world and what I do in the world is largely captured or could be at any moment and used against me if needed. I just want to clear out any sort of naivety, lack of understanding, lack of knowledge, bad information that you may be living with. It's a monitored world, and it's going to get more and more and more monitored, tighter and tighter, by intent. Okay, that goes back to my video a couple days ago. This is by intent. They're selling it into the world as conveniences, and they are. I mean, I get it. But it's being sold that way, so the larger monitoring, the 1984 monitoring that we always hear about, can continue at every level of our life. And there's really just not much you can do. Pretty soon you won't be able to buy a refrigerator that doesn't have IoT on it. Pretty soon you won't be able to buy a dishwasher that doesn't, or a TV that doesn't. I mean, pretty soon these models just won't be available. Just be aware of that. That's it. Ask me questions, poke back, do what you do. I just wanted to get this out there and get it up. It's not a pick-me-up video. It's like a PSA. It's a public service announcement. Guys, we use these devices to catch criminals. I'm proud of that. It can be misused, though. So just go out, and now you're more informed, be more aware, and just don't use it as an excuse not to do something. Because you can't do anything without being victim to this now. That's it. Guys, hope you have a good Sunday afternoon. We will talk again on Monday. Bye, you guys.